What up, world? What's happening? Lamar King Sr. Be great today. Life is good. Hope it's even better for you. But let's jump right into this thing. I already know why y'all here. So without further ado, let's jump right into this part three of the Irvin Griffin series. 50 years of accusation. Let's go. There's a lot of things that has transpired in this case. There's a lot of people have reached out, and again, I want to thank you guys for the support and the willingness to come forward and share and be open with me in certain situations, be vulnerable, because this is a sticky situation. I've dropped various videos throughout this week talking about my interactions with situations like this. And when you're talking about kids and you're talking about accusations of this nature, this is not a laughing matter. It's not a playing matter. And I know a lot of people may feel a certain type of way, but you've never been in those shoes. God forbid, I hope your child never have to stand in those shoes. A lot of people, again, defending this situation. A lot of people making justifications or explanations or excuses or whatever the case may be. But from what I've heard, what I've seen, and from my personal experiences with these motherfuckers, shh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit. In my opinion, they guilty. It's my personal opinion, you know. And I want to shed light on it because it is what it is, especially when you're talking about kids. There's a history of things that happens in Millersville, and especially when you're talking about high profile, high influential people who have power, influence, connections. They can sometimes get themselves out of situations that the common man can't. And these motherfuckers here, Irvin and Ivan Griffin, them motherfuckers got some influence. And the people close to this and people around this, they know it. These people ain't just no rude poot ass folks off the block. These people been in the community for many, many years, and they got long ties, and their pockets go deep. Because all that shit they talking about, $56,000 a year and 10 kids and 11 kids, that's bullshit. Bullshit. And that's another thing we're gonna get into it further in this episode, is the money. Everybody want to talk about this, that, the third, but hey, the same thing they do with the people I know that look like me that be out here hustling, selling dope. You got to pay taxes on your money. You can't get out here and do no shit on the side and not be accounted for. But neither here nor there. Let's dive right into this thing, man. And I want to talk about the long history of how Millersville cases, especially when you're talking about high profile, high influential people, oftentimes they never find the light of justice, right? In this particular case, first off, it's the one on Lake Law Road with the UGA professor, Miss Maryanne Shockley. Maryanne Shockley was a 43-year-old professor at the University of Georgia in the Department of Etymology, right? You know, the night of May 11th through May 12th, 2019, she met up with a longtime acquaintance, ex-classmate of hers, Marcus Lillard, in Millersville, right? And they kind of hung out, and they I think they were downtown. I think they may have been at the Brick, Amicis. You guys who familiar with Millersville, you know the whole downtown scene. Marcus ended up introducing her to a friend, his friend, Clark Hendale. And they end up going to his home on Watson Rental Roads, which is out in the Lake Laurel Road area out across the river bridge in Millersville, East Millersville, right? So, approximately about 1 a.m., deputies arrived at the scene, found Shockley naked and unresponsive beside a hot tub, and they're talking to Mr. Lillard and Mr. Hendale. So they allow Mr. Hendale to walk back in the house, right? They won't even let you go. I've seen where they won't even let you put your drawers on. They're like, oh no, it might be a gun in your drawer. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they let this man go back in the house, and he offs himself while the cops are in the yard. What the fuck they do that in? All right. So the medical examiner preliminary ruling indicated death was due to strangulation, right? Homicide. So Lillard was ultimately charged with felony murder, aggravated assault, involuntary manslaughter, and reckless conduct. The county sheriff called it one of the strangest cases we've ever worked on. I'm pretty sure it was, Bill. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was pretty strange, because 'cause that ain't standard practice where you just let a man just walk back in the house. The jury heard about 4 days of testimony and deliberated for about 35 minutes. They deliberated for 35 minutes that this man was not guilty in Baldwin County. Why? How the fuck do you have a deliberation for 35 minutes on a murder charge with somebody on April 8th before finding Marcus Lillard not guilty of felony murder, aggravated assault, voluntary manslaughter, reckless conduct, and the death of Shockley? The Telegraph newspaper reported, however, the judge did revoke Lillard's probation on drug charges. So see, that's what they do. They said, okay, well, you didn't kill nobody, but we're finna revoke all your probation because you were down. All right. Shockley, who was 43 when she died, and Lillard, 44, had met decades earlier while studying at Georgia College in Millersville and had reconnected about a year before her death. Shockley went to Millersville on May 11th to meet up with Lillard. They went to his father's home and to some restaurants downtown before going to the home of Clark Hendale, just east of town. They listened to music, drank, and did drugs, including ecstasy, sometime after 11 p.m. But before midnight, Lillard called and texted some female acquaintance, including 2 respiratory therapists, asking how to revive an unconscious person. The women testified. One suggested he called 911, but prosecutors said no one made the call until about 1 a.m. So that's 2 hours after he called friends. Baldwin County Sheriff Deputy arrived to find Shockley naked and unresponsive on the pool deck, bleeding heavily from a head injury, according to the incident report. UGA etymology professor had no pulse, and emergency medical personnel declared her dead shortly after arriving. Lillard told deputies he'd gone into the woods to look for firewood and returned to find Shockley unconscious in the hot tub. Now hold on, let me stop right there for a minute. Because now we in Millersville, Georgia, right? How the fuck you gonna get firewood in the middle of the night out the woods that you gonna burn tonight? In a self-respecting Southerner, no, you can't burn no fucking wet wood. But he out there cutting down trees. The fuck is he was doing out there? What? That shit don't even add up. Ain't no fucking. Unless he gonna get some twigs and sticks, I get it. Get some started, but that shit ain't gonna last long, right? But I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you need firewood for in May in Georgia. What? Come on now. Piss on my head and call it rain. And guess what? This guy got acquitted. He told them before he was going to get firewood in the woods in May in Georgia. Hold up, there's more. Lillard told deputies he'd gone into the woods to look for firewood and in return found Shockley unconscious in the hot tub. The deputies separated Lillard and Hendale, pulling Lillard in the patrol car and Hendale on his porch. Right? Hendale sitting on the porch. So when the deputies went to ask Hendale a question, they heard a loud but muffled noise. According to the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office incident report, Hendale had gone into his house, wrote a note that said he did not know what happened to Shockley, and then died by suicide. Yeah, man, that's some strange ass shit now, buddy. All this while the police deputies there. This man had time enough to go in the house, write a suicide note, and then kill himself. God, so be more careful. Prosecutors said during the trial that Lillard and Shockley were in the hot tub alone having sex when Lillard strangled Shockley. Right? Past lovers of Lillard had testified that he had choked them during sex. Defense attorney Matthew Turner said Lillard had drugged Shockley and Lillard. He said there was no evidence that showed Lillard strangled Shockley and said Lillard's intoxication was part of the reason he did not call 911 quickly. No evidence was put up ever that Shockley put his hands on Maryanne. The state has not proven that Marcus put his hands around her neck and strangled her. They didn't prove that. Right? During his closing argument, Assistant DA Attorney Nancy Scott read from a letter Shockley had written to herself that her family found in her bedroom after her death. The letter written after she began dating Little talked about her failed relationship with men. And still I go, Marco read from the letter. I know he isn't right for me. Shockley words tragically prophetic. Marco Lillard initially told the Georgia Bureau of Investigation that Hindle could not have killed Shockley, but quickly said he might have after learning Hindle had killed himself. In a recorded jail phone call, he said after seeing a report of Shockley's cause of death that she must have choked on her vomit. Shockley family issued a statement several days after the verdict saying it left them devastated. According to the Union Recorder, but they thank prosecutors and the women who testified. Our lives would never be the same, but Maryanne Shockley's impact on everyone who knew her would live on forever. Immediately after the acquittal verdict was read, Judge Allison Rizzo heard a probation violation charge against Little. After listening to the evidence arguments in the case, she said she had reached quite a bit of a difference of conclusion than what the jury has come to. Now, see, this is the type of shit they do in Baldwin County. The judge said she reached a bit of a conclusion than what the jury come to. Now, see, this is the thing that most people don't understand. The judge is not there to practice law from the bench. The judge is there to uphold your rights, to make sure your rights are not being violated, to be neutral and impartial. Doesn't matter if you did it or not, doesn't matter if you're convicted or not. The judge is there to uphold the rights and make sure the proceedings are going according to the Constitution of the United States of America. That's it. Judge can't have, but we all know that does not happen in this world that we live in. Judges are partial, judges are biased, judges are crooked, and especially the ones in Baldwin County, Georgia. And I'm going to call it how it is. I've seen firsthand how they made deals. My brother was murdered in 2007. They told me they wanted to put him under the chain gang. They made deals. I've seen them do it. And we're going to get into a little bit more deep as far as other cases that they've made deals. Are these 50-year accusations are going to see justice? Or are they going to happen just like with Miss Maryanne Shockley? Huh? Don't nobody want to talk about that. I hope it puts some feet to the fire down there at the crib. I hope it ruffles some feathers. I hope it makes some people, feel some type of way. It's the whole purpose of this. Because them kids, I promise you, they got a lifetime of feeling some type of way that they're going to have to deal with. And also the families I talk about going forward. Think about Maryanne Shockley's family. And I know they thank the prosecutors, but at the end of the day, they probably felt like I did about them prosecutors when they told us that bullshit. And when bad things happen to us, we expect justice. We expect, some type of vengeance. But oftentimes, especially when you're dealing with a convoluted, crooked system at that Baldwin County Courthouse, that I know personally firsthand how they work, good luck. Good luck. I remember a time a good friend of mine, my sister's good friend, her son was murdered over in the Millersville Mountain. And I remember when it happened. And I remember them, I think I got in the comment section and they were talking about, we're going to get justice for this and we're going to get justice for that. And of course, I felt sorry for him. I felt bad for him. Right? But I remember telling them, don't get your hopes up. They sold us all types of dreams and, promises that they couldn't keep. And I remember them, some of the family, oh, we got this, and we gonna make it happen. Yeah, I said, okay, we're gonna get justice. Trust me, I felt the same way. I've been in that same boat. I sat in that same seat. But when it came to trial, my sister's best friend's son's killer was acquitted. And they did the same thing they just did to Mr. Lillard. They violated his probation and made him do probation. He's probably doing probation time. That's what they do. Because Baldwin County, their chain of evidence is shit. Most of the time they don't know. I don't know what the fuck they doing. Only time they really want to get some shit together when it's talking about drugs, and then when it's talking about gangs to a certain extent. When it comes down to regular people going through regular shit, For some reason, they don't muster up enough strength. They want to use case law they ain't used in motherfucking 70 years against regular people. But when it come down to these motherfucking gang members and drug dealers, oh, them motherfuckers use motherfucking federal statute. Them motherfuckers got them, they use got them all type RICO acts. They using mafia statutes on regular country ass people from Milledgeville. Now don't get it twisted. I know Milledgeville is not just Mayberry by far, but you're gonna use a federal statute to take down a little small little kids from the neighborhood and ultimately got into it. Hey, trust me, I'm not playing down the level of violence and the level of drugs and the level of gunplay and the level of things that happen in the community. But a lot of times they use a whole bunch of resources in places that they don't need to. And then the place they need to, all of a sudden they hands tied. All of a sudden they tight lip. All of a sudden they don't know what the fuck going on. Yep. So in April 22, a jury acquitted Lillard of murder charges after a short deliberation, 35 minutes. How much evidence or what type of case do you have to build for a jury to go back there for 35 minutes to come back and say he ain't do it? This wasn't a hung jury, people. In order to get acquitted, you gotta have 12 people to say you didn't do it. Piss on my head and call it rain. Let's go into the second case in Milledgeville history. As far as why I don't think Irvin Griffin's probably going to be convicted. I know, he may not be. We'll see, time will tell. Ronnie Reaves. Ronnie Reaves. The wife of Arnaldo Reaves. The mother, the teacher, the business owner. Ronnie Reaves was 36 years old. She was an instructor at Central Georgia Tech, hairdresser, and a mother of two. Ronnie was shot driving home late night on 212 in Milledgeville, Georgia, about 1:30 in the morning on a Friday. And initially in the case, according to the Macon Telegraph, and I quote, "We don't think this is a random shooting because we hadn't had any issues like that," Massey said a day after the shooting. Right? At this point, we've only established it was one shot. The bullet came from a vehicle that was following her, went through Reeves' gray Toyota Camry and hit her as she was driving. She pulled off the road and made a cell phone call to us, Massey said. She said she was shot. Her vehicle was shot from behind. The bullet reportedly traveled through the back tail light, back seat, and front seat before striking her. Reeves was rushed to Oklahoma Regional Medical Center in Milledgeville. Baldwin County Deputy Coroner Ken Garland pronounced her dead at 2:52 a.m. on that Friday. Her body was sent to the GBI Crime Lab in Macon for an autopsy, and this report showed she was hit in the back on the right side, and the bullet exited through her abdomen. Massey said investigators are trying to verify what type of car was traveling behind her when she was shot before releasing the information to the public. But I remember explicitly, and I'm probably going to find it and put the clip up here, but I remember explicitly them talking about a white truck. There was talks of a past student who made threats to Miss Reaves. The fact that she made the 911 call, even Bill Massey said it himself, right? She made the 911 call on the night of the murder. But for some reason or another, this case just went cold. And let me tell you when it went cold. It went cold when they found out they couldn't charge the husband. And I'm going to just call it like it is, people. Me and Mr. Reaves are good friends. Went to school with him, played football with him. He used to cut my hair at one point in time. Been down to the salon with him and his wife, both are in there. He cut hair, she do hair. Right? And the audacity of a department to insinuate and even have the community, people amongst his family, friends, their colleagues, thinking that the husband had more so something to do with this. And I'm gonna tell you something, it wasn't motivated by money. Miss Reaves had no life insurance. The life insurance policy had recently lapsed. So there wasn't no big payday coming from Mr. Reaves. And the main question that's racking pretty much everyone's brain is the fact that it's been almost 10 years and we've yet to hear the 911 call of Miss Ronnie Reaves. Why? Do you know when the last time they used that fucking clause of a dying declaration, right? Do you know when the last time they used that shit? It was Shepard versus United States in 1954. 1954. In that Supreme case, the court reinforced the rules after dying declaration, basically saying that if a person truly believed they were about to die, their statement about their cause of their impending death could be admitted in court. It is a classic case that sets some of the standards for how dying declarations are used as evidence. So basically, these dying declarations are used as evidence in court, right? So basically, if they have the 911 call and they're saying Bill Massey and them are using this as a dying declaration that it has to be used for the purpose of court, then who the fuck are you looking for? That's the thing. So who, if you done heard the tape, or we can only use it in court, so what were you looking for? Because if she's telling you who killed her or who after her, then basically that's telling who you gonna take to court. But nobody's been to court. They haven't charged the husband. They haven't charged the student. And it's sad to say that is this gonna continue to happen? Is this something that we're gonna see in this Irvin Griffin case? Because from my understanding, they said this kid may be related to the sheriff of the county. They say this kid was once living in one of the sheriff's property. This is all allegedly, of course, but I'm saying, in small town USA, when people start talking, bro, there's a lot of truth to it. Because they ain't got to go that far. So where there's smoke, there's fire. And a lot of times, the people being so much of the denial, right? They don't want to stand on business. They don't want to tell the truth because so many people. So Milledgeville is full of prestige, so to speak, prestige. I would say, or people think they prestige. I thought they were prestige too. I love motherfucking Milledgeville. You know, it's sad to say that this family, the Reaves family, got to go through these different things. Let's go on to the third case. Third case in this matter. We're talking about Capital City nightclub, man. Capital City is a racist nightclub in Milledgeville, Georgia. At one point, they didn't allow black people in there. They hid it behind quote unquote dress codes. That, you know, me being a quote unquote local in Milledgeville, we knew we go down there. We can go down there to Dodo's pool room. We can go down there to the Brick. You know, we can hang out at the beaches. We can hang out at places like that. But when it came down to Capital City, you already knew you couldn't take your ass in there. It was almost like segregation in the 21st century. And there's stories, there's reports out there. And as you can see, I have them up here on the screen. Well, they didn't allow, you know, kids. They wanted a dress code, and they hide them out. And who gives a fuck? When you think about it, I've been down there before. It ain't really that big of a party unless you want to be drinking and drugging. You want to get high? Now that's where you go. But to my party, there ain't no place to party, right? But in February 2017, the FBI and the IRS executed search warrants in an investigation to the Capital City nightclub and another downtown business in Milledgeville, Capital City and Chops. Been to both of them, right? 119 South Wayne Street. Chops is like the little restaurant downstairs. Capital City is the little bar upstairs, right? All right, two men, both employees of the nightclub in downtown Milledgeville, were arrested on multiple felony drug charges during a Wednesday afternoon drug bust by local authorities. The arrest came after local authorities reportedly uncovered a large quantity of liquid and pill steroids during a raid of Capital City nightclub at the Chops Bar on South Wayne Street, according to by the FBI and the IRS. James Scarborough and Paul Creech, both of South Wayne Street addresses, were arrested. Federal authorities have not revealed the nature of the investigation that led to the raid, but several boxes of suspected evidence were taken from both local businesses on Tuesday. Oak Drug Task Force Commander Wesley Nunn told you recorded that drug arrests were made based on what federal authorities discovered. You see that? Or what federal authorities discovered. So the feds had to come in there and find the Wesley Nunn. Y'all been there for 50 years and y'all didn't even get it. The Oak Drug Task Force swore out a total of 14 felony drug warrants against two suspects on Wednesday afternoon, which resulted in the seizure of a very, very large quantity of steroids, Nunn said at the scene of the drug post. Agents with the task force made the arrest shortly before 5 p.m. The drug commander said both men share an apartment inside the building that double-sized as a residence and home of two different businesses. All right, Scarborough was charged with 3 counts Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Charged 3 counts of possession of Schedule 3 narcotic steroids with intent to distribute. Creature, meanwhile, was charged with 10 felony counts. Violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession with intent to distribute Schedule 3 narcotic known as steroid, and 1 count of possession of wax, or what's referred as dab on the streets. It's really concentrated marijuana. Okay, all right. Say probably a year more arrest. So that's what I'm saying. And then I've also found upon my investigation that, Blake Swaggart, man. I have many run-ins with Blake Swaggart. He was a certified law enforcement in Georgia. He began his county work. He began in the county. He later became a sergeant with the Georgia State Patrol. He was the commander of the Georgia State Patrol Milledgeville Post, at least a senior officer at that post until internal investigation. So it was early 2017, investigation launched after the restaurant and bar in Milledgeville was raided by the FBI, RS, DEA. Swaggart was implicated. The raided premises had firearms that an individual claimed were purchased from Swaggart. Now all this was going on right here. Now you done found out. Let me tap on this goddamn article. This was in Atlanta Journal-Constitution, so you ain't gonna find this. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna find this in the Union Recorder. This stuff they ain't gonna push just out there like that because they ain't gonna have it. It says the commander of the Georgia State Patrol Post to lose his job Wednesday after an investigation turned up policy violation. Sergeant Blake Swaggart, commander of the Milledgeville Post, has been under investigation since the FBI, IRS, and DEA raided a restaurant and bar in that city in February. And basically what happened was the guy in the restaurant in Capital City told him he was buying guns from Swaggart. And I know personally, I've been in Capital City. Swaggart had ownership in Capital City and Chops, right? And they know that. That man pretty much owned Capital City and Chops. But because he was a detective on the Baldwin County Sheriff Department, because he came up in the ranks on the Baldwin County Sheriff Department, because he later became the commander of the Milledgeville Georgia State Patrol Post, when all this shit hit the fan, what did they do? Then they say, okay, it went on Swaggart, this some other shit. They say he was sending texts on his phone, nude photos to multiple women. He allegedly influenced a Tybee Island police officer to erase a traffic citation issued to his girlfriend. He worked off-duty security for a concert after being denied and was paid, which violated off-duty employment policy. He was reported that his internal investigation file was 500 pages. This man termination part, this man shit was 500 pages. Shit, let me look at this. The Augusta Chronicle, let me open this link. They was going in on his head. Let's see. Let me see if I can get it. Okay. It said Georgia State Trooper on the investigation for a host of misconduct allegations is expected to be fired. Georgia Department of Public Safety leadership had recommended Blake Swaggart termination effective close of business Thursday. He has appealed. The investigation to the sergeant in charge of Milledgeville Post began when the FBI raided on February 28 recovered guns Swaggart had bought that were now in the hands of an individual with a criminal background. Swaggart was suspended from the Georgia State Patrol 2 days later. The Macon Telegraph obtained a 500-page file of the 9-month internal investigation in which the department accused Swaggart of associating with someone with a criminal background against policy, working security, off-duty work policy, using his state-issued phone to contact women and staying sexually pleasant texts, photos. Swaggart told Captain Malone that he had sold the gun to an old friend who had been convicted of a felony charge in 1999 and pardoned in 2011. That friend, Trey Brett, owned the bar and restaurant raided in February. See, that's a big lie. Swaggart owned that restaurant and bar. Everybody knew that. He probably put it in that boy's name, but Swaggart owned that bar. Swaggart later told investigators he used his work phone to send explicit message at violation. Yada, 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 yada. Rest of the shit. But what I'm saying is, I say all that to say, this man was explicitly a part of this, he was a part of it. He was a part of it. Swaggart was he was a part of the whole investigation. He owned the motherfucking business. But seemingly, Seemingly, he didn't, he didn't have nothing to do with it. So ultimately, the federal charges against the two Millersville bar owners, Will and Trey Brett, they pled guilty. Will got 33 months in federal custody, prison around April 2023, and the details of Trey's disposition of the case has not been disclosed. But on to, what Swagger ended up going on to jump on his wife, got some domestic violence charges. But this motherfucker had the audacity to go to fucking Nebraska and get a fucking job and became a police officer up there. And, as you can see in this photo here, he was still doing the same thing, drug bust, raiding, causing reason havoc in the neighborhood, which I guess that's his job, whatever you want to say. But you done did all this shit. You've been on a federal investigation. You did all kind of different things. So firearms to convicted felons as a fucking, as a fucking peace officer, as a fucking police officer, as a state trooper. And then you have the audacity or the wherewithal to take your ass to Nebraska. And them motherfuckers hiring. They hire him. He go on the job. And you can see in this photo, he's fucking working. He's making drug busts. Until they finally did their background check came back and they saw all that shit. He appealed that shit so many times or whatever. But again, is this the same thing we're gonna see with Irvin Griffin? Is this the same reason why Miss Ivor Griffin has not been charged in this case? Right? It's the Millersville politics, the elite, the so-called prestige families or cliques in Millersville. Man, they don't get on nothing happen to them. Don't shit happen to them. And this is what I'm talking about. Baldwin County Courthouse is where high-profile cases go to die. And is this going to happen in this case as well? So let's jump on into this Big Ben. Big Ben was here too. Let's jump on into this. So it was back in 2010, Ben Rosenberger was accused of sexual assault. A 20-year-old student at Georgia College State University in the restroom of Capital City nightclub in Milledgeville. The investigation included a medical exam that found some bruising, but they couldn't confirm it from the assault. Witnesses say Rosenberg and his bodyguard brought the student and her friends to the VIP area, and there was alcohol involved. Eventually, the DA decided not to press charges, saying it would be easier to move on from this process than go through a whole trial. Sounds very familiar what he told my family when it was time to go to trial for the person who ultimately murdered my brother. Using that word easier and let's just make it easier. I want to, get this over with and this, that, and the third. There it is, man. I'm almost 19 years later and I'm still not over it. So I'm not going to talk too much about the DA, especially that particular DA for obvious reasons, those who you know. But nonetheless, Ben Rosenberger pretty much got a slap on the wrist. From my sources and my understanding back in the time, I was still close to Millersville at that time. The girl was ridiculed and she ended up quitting school. She was accused of, crying wolf. She was accused of many different things. Some say Ben gave a big payday. That's, of course, still allegedly. We don't know. But that's another case of how people with influence and money and connections, their cases somehow get swept under the rug. Let's go into one more before we get into the Irvin Griffin. Richard Bentley. Richard Bentley, man, I tell you. Richard Bentley was the mayor of Millersville at one point, and he was an insurance. He was the insurance guy. That's what he was known for. But the thing about it is, Richard Bentley started doing some sneaky shit. He had been arrested and charged with 12 counts of insurance fraud. Right? He was 52 at the time, and he got 7 counts of misappropriation of insurance premiums and five counts of issuing fraudulent certificates of insurance, right? And all this is why he's the mayor of Millersville. All this while he's the mayor of Millersville. It's crazy, right? So he pleads guilty to 12 counts of insurance fraud, right? He owned Wilkinson Insurance Company in Millersville. He's issuing policies with fake certificate numbers and all kinds of stuff. It was some of the companies he did. He did the Ivy Country Club, Inside Media, Buddy Record Service. Oh man, he got Buddy Johnson. Irvin Dykes Grass Company and Harris Trucking. He had to pay back more than $50,000 in restitution. He received 10 years probation and a $2,000 fine. It has to do 160 hours of community service. The probation can be terminated after 5 years. All fines and fees and restitution have to be paid before it can become off. Prosecutors also told the judge there was no evidence Bentley misused city funds or abused his powers as mayor. Well, for obvious reasons, as mayor, he don't have no fucking powers. So they didn't say shit now. You feel me? He doesn't have recollections of a certain event. So this is what now. Here's the kicker right here. Now this is where the goddamn theatrical shit come in at. Bentley's attorney told the court his client has suffered a severe brain injury in October 2013 and has had 2 brain surgeries since the incident. He doesn't have recollections of certain events. I know damn well he did. Prosecutor told judge because of the poor health and because of his poor health, a probation detention center will probably not take Bentley. I know motherfuckers in goddamn jail right now. My uncle is a diabetic. Don't talk about bad diabetic. They ain't letting his ass out. You know what I'm saying? I know some motherfuckers in there with goddamn congestion heart failure. Motherfuckers in there with goddamn, you know what I mean? All kind of shit. And they still taking their ass. You feel what I'm saying? And trust me. And it was so funny. It was so funny, right? That even in the union recording, they talked about how they snuck his ass out the back door after he pled guilty to these 10 years probation to avoid the media. Now it's the fucking mayor of Milledgeville. Then they made sure to be clear. Oh, he didn't misappropriate. Now he misappropriated insurance funds, but he didn't misappropriate the city funds. He probably didn't. He didn't have no power. City of Milledgeville mayor don't have power, and that's true. A lot of people don't like that fact either, but he don't. He ain't know the funds. He ain't know the money. He ain't have access to it. Thank God. But the thing about it is how they made sure, and I guarantee you he's off that probation. And the thing about it, he got charged in 2010. He didn't get probation in 2013, 2014, 4 years. Before they decided to do something to this man. And these are the type of things I'm talking about that goes on in Milledgeville that isn't going to happen with Irvin Griffin. Huh? Is this what we should expect? So let's jump right on into this Irvin Griffin, man. Let's go. This is what y'all came here for. Without further ado, Irvin Griffin series part 3. Let's go. I know we came here to finish up, get deep into the detail, but it's so much information I've been told as far as with this case. I have an actual recorded phone calls with people who actually attended the Griffin Home Daycare, and I'm trying to compile all that stuff together and put it out for you. But the real purpose of this series, or this part of this series, was to keep applying pressure on not only the Griffins, but we gotta hold the Baldwin County Courthouse accountable. There's been incident after incident after incident throughout this community that there has been no justice. According to my research, the whole county of Baldwin County and the city of Milledgeville has about anywhere from 14 to 18 unsolved murders dating back to 1999. The Baldwin County Courthouse has repeatedly given those in position of power, those in position of influence, slaps on the wrist. I can recall back in the day when Gumby and his wife were convicted of money laundering, and they went to federal prison, and lo and behold, Gumby comes home and he still has all of his property. These are the types of things I'm talking about that goes on in Milledgeville, Georgia. Right? We have a sheriff and we have a chief of police who both have been convicted of DUI in Milledgeville, and they both still hold their offices. Now I can understand Bill is an elected official. The citizen go out and vote for him. But the city, the police chief, hey, that's an appointed position. No one votes for him. Guess who the Milledgeville chief of police is? And for those who don't know, and I'm pretty sure you all do know, the city of Milledgeville police chief is Swaggert's brother. I forget his name. I think his name Drake Swaggart. Blake and Drake. He's the brother of Blake Swaggart. So this is the things I'm talking about. These are the connections. These This is how cases go to that courthouse and die because of the long history. The heritage is what they sometimes call it, right? And again, I don't give a fuck about black, white, blue, or green. Because at the end of the day, these situations have involved children. But it also involves some of Millersville elites. It's also involved some of Millersville's upper echelon, Irvin and Ivor Griffin, a business that's been in business for 49 years. And you think they don't have ties in that community that reach long and deep to where, one, the wife won't even be implemented, she won't be implicated, and I'm gonna give you recorded details of how she not only physically abused kids, but verbally abused them as well. Some of the people I have coming on here, they're gonna tell you how they dreaded going there. They kicked and screamed, just like I told you one of my previous sources told me. And trust me, after living beside these people for 4 years, I wouldn't take my kids there. But like I said before, there were detective cars, cop cars, GMC vehicles, Central State vehicles that brought their children to that daycare. And I know this situation is going to touch a lot of families, a lot of people in high positions. I have screenshots, which you can see right here. So this story is not going anywhere with it. But one of the people that I know close to me told me about stories of being how his family took him out of that daycare at 3 years old because there's rumors. And here it is right here in the screenshot. I don't have to lie. We're going to bring light to this situation about the Griffins, and we're going to bring the light to this situation about the judicial system in Baldwin County. Because as a former taxpayer, former homeowner, former business owner, and native of Millersville, Georgia, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm not going to sit back and let this go. I let it go by moving and selling my house and getting away from those people back in 2005. But in 2025, I'm on their motherfucking ass. I'm compiling the phone calls, the recorded calls, doing a lot of editing, getting it all together. That episode will be released tonight, so make sure you hit the notification bell on this channel. Subscribe to it, so once it's uploaded, you'll be notified. I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate you guys' continued texts and encouraging words, DMs. You guys just don't know. There's a lot of people that don't like what I'm doing, but there's a lot of people that love what I'm doing, and those are the people I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for these children. I'm doing it for the city of Millersville, to let you guys know we can't allow situations like this to continue to fester in our community and think it's okay. And it's been going on far too long, and it needs to stop now. And I'm gonna just be blatantly honest. My hometown city of Millersville, it's time to get them old motherfuckers out of that goddamn courthouse. It's time to get them old motherfuckers out of that sheriff's office. It's time to get them old motherfuckers out of that city. Because this is what we get, the same old results. And a lot of you may not care. A lot of you may say, oh, Lamar, you ain't got nothing. Why you worry about this, that? Okay. When that shit hits your front door, like it did hit my front door March 4, 2007, and the whole fiasco through that shit, when that shit hit your front door, like it did when I was 5 years old, running from a child predator from West End School to the back project, when it hits your front door, and it's your child, and it's your niece, and it's your nephew, don't cry wolf then. Because this is uncalled for, and it needs to stop. We're in 2025, and the city of Millersville and the county of Baldwin County seems like it operates like we're in the motherfucking 40s. Because those who are in position and power, they do what the fuck they want to do. The little man gets beat down, get taxed and probed and prayed for every goddamn thing, and expect to sit there and take it with no Vaseline. And if y'all like it, shit, I love it. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. The original recorded phone calls from actual victims and actual people who have been in Griffin Home Daycare will be uploaded in a few hours. I thank you all. I love you all. Be great today. Peace.